Is it just me, or is inventory for key comic books really low these days? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how inventory for key comic books feels really sparse right now. Now, I don't know about you guys, but anecdotally speaking for me, when I go into eBay hunting, key comic books that I want to purchase, it feels like everything is super picked over. And I don't know if that's because, inventory is just low because there's a lot of collectors out there, or if it has something to do with the seller's market that we're kind of living in here today. So in this video, I'm going to kind of look at some things with you guys and talk about that. But before I get into the video, if you guys could drop me a like or a comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, help support the channel, do one of those things, and I would appreciate it. All right, that said, let's talk about the subject for the video here today. And one of the reasons why I decided to make this video is because if you guys saw my video yesterday, I did a video talking about key comic books for the Loki show. And when I was doing my research and kind of looking at prices for books on eBay and checking out, certain inventory, what I noticed was that the prices or the inventory for those books that I was going to talk about was really, really low. And the prices were already pretty high. Now, this is in comparison to some of the other videos I did for Falcon and Winter Soldier leading up to the show and for WandaVision leading up to the show, where, the books that I talked about for those, like my spec books for those series, there was definitely the books were hot, but the inventory, there was a lot to choose from. Whereas in this one, coming up to Loki, I feel like the inventory is really low. And one of the reasons I suspect that might be the case is because of the nature of, the seller's market that we kind of live in here today. So I wanted to dig into this with you guys and look at a few things. And you let me know, too, from your guys' perspective, have you noticed that inventory is really down overall in the comic book market? So let's take a look at this here. And I pulled up a few things that I had from my video yesterday as far as our books are concerned. So the first one I wanted to talk about here was Avengers 23. This, of course, is the first appearance of Ravonna Renslayer. Now, if you guys, want to talk about why these books are hot, hop over to my Loki video that I did yesterday. But we're just going to kind of count together like some of the inventory. And this one, sticks out to me in my mind very much so anecdotally, because this is a book that I found on eBay. This is a book that I found in an LCS a few months back, right? And I got a pretty good deal on it. And I was actually thinking of flipping it at that point. But when I went onto eBay just, some months ago, there was tons of this book. And, this thing was getting sold for like $20 or so. So I decided to hold on to it. And thankfully I did, because then I eventually decided to do my Avengers Grail run. So I'm glad that I have it anyways. But regardless, when I look at this book right now on eBay, I mean, let's look at our inventory here. I searched this. Of course, I'm doing a buy it now. There might be live auctions, but let's just say you're that person who wants to own it right away. If I count the number of books that are on here, it's not that many. So let's count it together here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you want the lot, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 books. 10 books of Avengers 23 as buy it nows on eBay. And that is pretty crazy to me. I mean, I know that there's nothing that we can necessarily compare it to. I wish I could get the data from months back, but just anecdotally, just looking at this here with you guys right now, I mean, 10 copies, that is really not that much, especially knowing that we're going to get a character who presumably might make an appearance in Loki. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about here today is because is this inventory thing where I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like a lot of sellers right now are sitting on their inventory more than they've ever done so before. And I think that this is, obviously true, but I kind of feel like it's not necessarily that Avengers 23 is so rare and scarce that, there's just only 10 copies that exist to be sold right now. I have an actual feeling that a lot of people are sitting on their books and waiting for the premiere of Loki to debut in order to sell it and get that premium price. But that begs the question to me is that, with this current market, I mean, if we're looking at it here, you see like the lowest price you can get this book for right now on eBay. If I search it like this and we say, that might do it in a weird way. All right, let's go like this. Let's just go best match. And we'll just say, here's a $150 book. Here's another 150. Here's a 108. Okay, 108 plus 24 shipping. So this is, I think right now, the lowest that you can buy this book for. I have a feeling that when we get if we get Ravonna in the Loki series, like we're going to get a ton of listings that night. So it begs the question, if we get a ton of supply after, Ravonna makes her appearance in the show, is the price going to continue to go up, or is the price actually going to self-correct because now we have so much inventory in there? And that's something that's super interesting to me and something I'm kind of keeping my eye on as we get into the show with Loki, because I feel like we're in a place now where we've kind of read this script a few times, especially coming off the heels of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it becomes very, very clear that, okay, hot book, spec book leading into the show, and then all of a sudden we get the episode where that character is revealed, and then everyone goes nuts, and then everyone sells their books for 4x. And I'm just wondering if in the comic book market, that's going to continue to be the trend. If people are just going to be kind of like, with all due respect to the comic book buyers out there, are we just all going to be lemmings? Like we're just going to follow this hot trend, like, oh, I got to have it, at the height of the market? Or are we getting smarter to that? Are we going to have a little more caution when we make these purchases, because there's a couple books here that I wanted to talk about later, namely Amazing Spider-Man 361 and Eternals #1, where I'm already starting to see slight corrections, even coming off the heels of the trailer. All right, well, let's take a look at some other books here that I think are interesting. This was another one, Journey into Mystery 103. This is just one that I always like to talk about because I'm a fan of this book, but another spec book as it relates to Loki. And a classic Silver Age book. This is like maybe even bigger than the seller's market in terms of, what is out there and what's available for hot shows. But this one here, when I count the inventory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 13 books. 13 books for this is really not that much either. If we're really being honest with ourselves, like, this is a book that obviously is always kind of a desired book, like always kind of a hot key comic book. But when we're talking about 13 copies, overall for like something that isn't necessarily people are, it's not like Enchantress is in the MCU. I mean, 13 just doesn't sound like that many to me, and so I think that is like really, really interesting. Again, here's another book that I talked about in my video yesterday, Avengers #10, first appearance of Immortus. If I count these books, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. That's it. 6 buy it nows for first appearance of Immortus. And of course, this could be something, maybe there's a lot of speculators out there and they're purchasing these buy it nows and everyone's sitting on them. But that ultimately is kind of where I'm feeling this whole market is going right now, where, if we get the reveal that Immortus is in the MCU, are we going to get that, influx of inventory and supply? And what is that really going to do for the numbers right now? Because let's say that I want to buy this book, first appearance of Immortus. I mean, the cheapest I can get this thing, and this is a 0.5, is $170. So already, like, the prices are ridiculous for a book. I mean, or maybe they're not ridiculous. The price is the price. But the question is for me, it's like, are we really going to, are sellers really going to get the best number for their books when we get the reveal of Immortus? And is the comic book market going to continue to chase these books when they're super hot in the market? I don't really know, but it feels like this is something that, is eventually has to catch up, right? Like the market has to get smarter to this trick, I feel like, that's going on with the sellers here. Now, here's another one that I think is really interesting. Journey into Mystery 85, of course, first appearance of Loki. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 copies. That's it. That's 5 copies exist on eBay if you want to get your hands on this book. Considering that we know that Loki is coming, his show is in 2 weeks away. There's only 5 copies that exist. I mean, it feels obvious to me that like when we get the week of the show, there will be a bunch of new listings. Now, how long those new listings sit, that is a good question. But overall, I mean, it's crazy to me that there's only 5 copies that are available for people to purchase on eBay as of this moment right now. Another one here that I think is interesting, of course, I had to talk about Avengers 1, but again, even just like bigger, picture for Silver Age books, we have 1, 2, 3. Is that it? 3 copies of Avengers 1 right now. And I did like, I tried different searches, and this is the one that pulled up the most results. And it's just crazy to me that there's only 3 copies of Avengers #1 that you can get on eBay right now. And the ones that you can buy is, look at this. It's a 0.5, a 3.0 with like a faded cover here. And then this book right here, which is like the British variant, and it's like a $10,000 raw comic book. I mean, like, that's already crazy. So just inventory overall feels really, really low right now, especially for Silver Age stuff. But this also, it relates to other kind of spec books here with regards to Loki, because this is another one that I talked about in my video yesterday, and that is actually Loki, Agent of Asgard #2. Now, this is one of those books that has 3rd and 2nd prints, but if I go in here and I just count the amount of first prints that are available for buy it now, I mean, look at this. If I scroll down, I see 1 book right here, 2 if you're willing to buy this lot, and yeah, that's it. 2 books, right? 2, yeah. Because I'm not going to count 3rd printing and 2nd prints. So just the first print. If you want to buy Agent of Asgard, first print right now, because you're specking on female Loki, there's really only 2 copies that you can get your hands on that are on eBay as of right now, which is totally crazy to me. And this is in contrast, of course, to some other books out there that I wanted to talk about, which was Amazing Spider-Man 361 and Eternals #1. Now, as you guys know, we recently got the Eternals trailer, which dropped, and the market went crazy for that. Some weeks back, we got the Amazing Spider-Man 361 trailer, and we saw Carnage, and everyone went crazy for the first appearance of Carnage. Now, I am one of those sellers that actually, I had a first appearance of Carnage on my eBay store, and I had it listed, and it was actually listed before the trailer, and as soon as the trailer dropped, someone bought it instantly. So I'm one of those sellers. But one thing that is interesting to me is that, like, when I had posted my book, which was before the trailer, and I was comparing to like other listings and other prices, my first print was really like only one of maybe like 6 copies that were available at that time. Like that's I know that sounds crazy, but like I'm being totally honest, is like with all the buy it nows, there were like 6 copies that were available on eBay. And it's because, I mean, I'm sure most people were swooping them up, buy it now, getting their hands on it, hoarding that inventory. And then of course, I don't need to tell you, but once we got the trailer, there were like tons of listings overnight. And as you can see here, even right now, when you go and search Amazing Spider-Man right now, you can see, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, I don't need to count, like, but I'm not to say that the prices aren't like low or the prices aren't dropping, but when we're talking about inventory and supply, there is obviously tons and tons of listings right now because everyone is posting their Amazing Spider-Man 361 to be sold. And that's something that's super interesting to me, is that, I kind of wonder, like, are you actually better off making a purchase on, let's say you want, Agent of Asgard #2 right now because you are specking on female Loki. Are you better off buying that book right now for $60 some or whatever it was plus shipping, the one copy that's available on eBay? Or should we wait actually till female Loki makes an appearance in the Loki show, and then we're going to get like 100 new listings? I mean, it's certainly possible that the book will be all listed at like $100 or whatever it is, but I'm also thinking like, well, maybe not. Like maybe everyone's going to have to constantly undercut each other, and there will actually be deals that are less than the one that is sitting on eBay right now. Could be totally wrong. I mean, the market so far has not behaved that way. Definitely people are, paying premiums, especially, at the height of the hype. But what I think is really interesting is that, are people going to get smart to this trick? Are people going to get used to like, okay, here we go. Yeah, we got the big Agatha Harkness reveal. We got the big US agent reveal. And, I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to make the purchase right here today because I don't need to. And that to me is something that's really interesting, because I actually do think that for what I got from my book for Amazing Spider-Man 361 compared to what some of the prices are listing right now, I mean, it's pretty comparable. And mine was like, coming off the heels of the initial trailer versus like what is going on right now where everyone is super, super excited about it. So already there's been like maybe that slight correction or slight pullback. Anyway, so one last thing I wanted to talk about here, again, Eternals #1. This was another book that right now I can you can go page after page after page of Eternals #1. You just see this book all over the place. There's tons and tons of copies of this thing. Granted, the prices are really high, but if I compare this to like just, a couple weeks ago, because I was, I have an Eternals 1 and I was thinking about listing my book for sale, and I was just looking at like what are the comparable prices. And honestly, I mean, even though the prices are much higher right now, as far as inventory is concerned, there was so much less inventory because I think everybody was sitting and waiting on the trailer to drop. But anyways, that is all I have for this video. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about why this interesting kind of like supply right now with comic books. Like I feel like everybody is sort of doing the same thing and sitting on their books for that like hype trailer moment or hype reveal of some kind in like the Disney Plus show. And I'm just wondering if like overall, is the market going to catch up to this? Is the market going to stop sort of chasing these peak moments to cash in or to make purchases of these key books? I don't really know. This could just be the game that we're going to continue to play for the next foreseeable future, which I think is crazy. But I don't know. I have a feeling at some point this is going to start to wear off, like or cashing in on these hype trailer drops is just going to start to kind of taper off a little bit. But let me know what you guys think. What are your guys' thoughts? I'd love to hear what your guys' experiences have been so far with like hunting comic books on eBay. I don't know, I just rewind the clock back to like 6-7 months ago, and I just feel like there were so many more options overall. But we know that it's a hot market right now, and inventory is going to be low. Anyways, that is all I have for this video. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next one.